Good evening, dear friends. So, our curious question comes from our viewer from the city of Alatra Sergei Mikhailov. He is interested in what is cracking when I move my neck. Some kind of unclear crunch is heard. What to do with it, whether it is dangerous or not. Whatever it is that's cracking, I've noticed it, and now I'm worried. Help! Well, the question has been received. Now listen to the answer. So, watch. Our spine consists of vertebrae, and the vertebrae are connected to each other by intervertebral discs. Here they are. See, like this a bit bigger here. And they are connected to each other by joints. The joints between the vertebrae and the lower back are exactly the same as in the neck. Your neck is cracking, isn't it, Sergey? Here they are, your joints. Many people wonder what's cracking there. Salt, not salt, sugar, pepper? No. Salt deposition. Often we can hear such terms from our neighbors in the house, usually grandmothers. Salt deposition. Here, they have salt deposits, but this is a misconception. Actually, it's not salts. A bump is growing here. It's swelling, sometimes fat. There are no salts there. Not a gram. So what causes this situation to occur? What causes the crunching sound when moving the neck? During movement, see, this is how all our joints are arranged. Movement in the neck is difficult, all right? We just move with the hand, bent, unbent. One joint is working. And what's the complex movement here? You wanted to turn your head left, correct? Look, how many joints are moving at the same time? How many movements they all make together? How many muscles are involved in this complex movement? Many. Exact number undetermined by scientists. Certainly not 2 or 3. Maybe 10 or more? We are interested in the largest of them for now, these muscles here. So look, schematically, if we take groups of muscles, here are the lateral ones, those on the right, on the left, and the anterior posterior. Here they are almost one-to-one, accurately anatomically depicted, right here in this photograph. Yes, one of these muscles is the sternocleidomastoid muscle. This is one of the largest lateral muscles. It's located right here. What are its functions? You can simply turn your head from right to left. Apply it like this, maybe hop. And this one relaxed at this time. Here, if both are tense and you are lying on your back, they are tense, raised their head, looking down somewhere. What's happening there? Imagine you were asleep and someone seized your legs. We look, who is it? They work. If these muscles weren't there, when you sleep, bam, grabs your legs. No one. You won't see who did it in any way. Look up the back muscle group. Is it raining? No, all is well. No issues there. Next, the front ones are identical, but now there are 2 here. And so, in general, we have scientifically divided all these muscles into groups with you. Hence, the lateral ones, represented by the prominent sternocleidomastoid muscle. And the front back? Again, both sternocleidomastoids. Let's include the scalene muscles to add variety. The scalene muscles are also located here. Added. And the neck extensors. These are the large muscles. They actually hold the head. Just like this, when we look down, they get strained, work hard, get injured, inflamed, and hurt. So what we have then are these 4 groups of muscles. And let's say we have the sides, right and left. This muscle, for some reason, left, right, let it be. This one on the right side stopped working. But one of the most common reasons here is the clavicle. This muscle is attached to the clavicle. The clavicle has become loose. Why has it become loose? The shoulder moved forward and left. Just like that on the right side. This often happens. We do a lot with the right hand. That's why we end up in such a position. The chest muscle develops more than the back muscles. The shoulder moves forward. The collarbone is slightly displaced forward. The sternoclavicular muscle in the chest is exerting. It stops working due to the instability of the collarbone. There you go. And there is an uneven tension in these muscles. The head tilts slightly to one side. The first situation. The second scenario involves two groups. Here are the stare muscles, and here is the neck extensor. And what happens? We spend too much time, for example, reading scientific literature. Or, for example, we watch various conferences, new scientific discoveries, for example. We look at Instagram. Or on YouTube, we also watch some symposium recordings. This takes a lot of our time. That's how we end up in our usual situation. Our muscles adapt to keep us in this position. And then suddenly we decide to make a move, and it turns out they happen with a crunch. Some people don't like the crunch for some reason, and it alarms them and they want to get rid of it. What do some people do? They make a move, their neck crunches, and they start to repeat this movement many times. They think that if they do this many times, they won't wear out their joint, but on the contrary, somehow improve it. Such a thought comes to mind. But this doesn't happen. That is, if you made one movement, something there either crunched or did a little bit like this, or some kind of sounds. Listen, such non-physiological sounds that were not there before. Then don't repeat this movement many times. What will you do instead? Instead, you need to balance all these muscles. It's generally difficult to determine exactly what needs to be trained. See, right here, it turns out the right muscle is weaker than the left one because your collarbone is shifted over here. To quickly, effectively, and inexpensively treat all this at home, you need to start primarily with this. We have 4 muscle groups here. We still don't know what we have there, collarbone or not collarbone. We will start now and it will immediately become clear what is weaker and what is not. For this, we take a bed, a sofa, something like that, on which you can lie at home. Now we will check each of these muscles with you. There aren't as many of them as they work. For example, first we'll check the 2 sternoclavicular mastoid. Let's try for 10-15 seconds, see if they hold or not. If the 2 hold, good. If the 2 don't hold, it's clear that they are weak. If the 2 hold, we'll try them separately. Here's the right one. I've turned my head to the left. Now the right one is tense. Checking the right one. I'll also try to hold it for 10 seconds. The left one like this, in the other direction. And I see from which side it's easier for me to hold, from which side it's harder to hold. On the side, as you guessed, which is harder to hold, what is it? Correct? Yes. Weaker. So they made such a test. Now for the back muscles. The back muscles can be done in the same way, but it's more difficult here. Here, they usually bear the weight of the head because the position is more familiar. So in this position, well, here, you can immediately try to turn to one side and then to the other side. And try to bend a little forward, lift a little. Make a few movements. See which side it will be harder for you to do, which side it will be easier to make these movements. Or just hold it, depending on how heavy your head is, how weak your neck is. Either you will understand statically or in motion. Well, let's say now you have determined. So you don't forget, write it down, because when you start training, they will start to align. Then you might get confused. Write it down immediately, in which position which muscle was weak for you. And for example, I found that when I lie down, turn my head this way, it's harder for me to hold it like this. And so, accordingly, I do a separate workout just for this muscle. Another method to verify is by moving, like twisting your head, causing your neck to crack. Do the exercise just even statically, hold it for 15-20 seconds so that it doesn't get too tired, but the muscle gets the load. And after this exercise, do it asymmetrically on the lagging one. After this, again do that movement, during which you had a crack. And listen, will there be a crack or not? If there is no crack, It means you are moving in the right direction. If there is a crack, it just means you need to hold it a little longer. Just because it didn't work the first time doesn't mean it's all gone. You've been at it for 10 years. Can one failure erase it all? No. That's it?